And now Claude will get to work. It's clever enough to understand that I'm asking for a form. Jotform is connected. It knows that Jotform creates forms, and so it will go and create one on its own here right in front of us. It's honestly like magic. It's crazy how quick this is, and in a moment we'll have a completed form. Claude is a generative AI tool, which just means it can create completely new things based on its training data. The problem is that most videos out there are focused on people who already understand how to use it. So today, I'm going to get hands-on to show you exactly how it works and give you the confidence to get started. So whether you're looking for help with writing, analyzing information, creating documents, connecting to other tools, or tackling repetitive tasks, this video will help. Let's dive in. This is what Claude looks like. You can access it at claude.ai on the web, or you can download the desktop app like I have here. On the left-hand side, you've got all of the options that you might use, like artifacts to see what you've created before, and a list of chats will appear down here as well. And in the middle, you've got your chat window where you'll have the conversation with Claude to have it help you with tasks or create things that you ask for. For today's video, I'm going to imagine that I'm opening a new coffee shop called Willow Coffee. And the first thing I want Claude's help with is writing a social media post. With generative AI tools like Claude, better inputs result in better outputs. So it's best to follow a framework when you're writing prompts. And my one has 4 quick steps. The first is persona, which is the role that you want Claude to play. So I'm going to start my prompt with, you're a social media manager. And that will help Claude tap into all of its knowledge about social media. Next is the task. That's the thing that I want Claude to do. So I'm going to say, write an announcement for the local Facebook community group for the new cafe that I'm opening. It's a really clear task alongside that persona. So now we have the persona, the role it's going to play, and the task, the thing I want it to do. Next is the context, which is the information it needs to complete that task. You can provide as much or as little as you want. Obviously, the idea here is to save time, so you don't want to spend hours writing out the context. As an example, for me, I'm going to put, it's called Willow Coffee, and we're opening on the 13th of September at 9 a.m. And after the context is the 4th part of the framework, which is the format. That's how you want the output to look. So I'm going to say, make it friendly and welcoming, and end with a call to action to come along. Now, if you're part of a bigger company, you might have a brand guideline book or anything like that. You could even give that to Claude to help it understand the context and format to make sure it writes something that sounds like you or the company. Then I can just click submit here or hit enter, and Claude will get to work. Let's see what we get. You can see that first Claude thinks about it, and if I click on these notes here, it will actually show me its thinking if I want to have a look in a bit more detail. And very shortly, I'm going to get the result that is written in this chat window. And here's what Claude has created. It says, congrats on Willow Coffee. Let me know if you'd like a shorter version, a different tone or version with hashtags. And it's actually created a document here. This is called a markdown document, which is a document with simple formatting that would still hold if you copied and pasted it somewhere. And I can read the post on the right-hand side. It says, we're beyond excited to announce that Willow Coffee is opening its doors after months of hard work and a lot of coffee taste testing. It says what to expect, and it's got the date and time there. It's quite a nice post. I worry, though, that it's a little bit too long, and I don't love that many emojis. Maybe 1 or 2 would be fine. So the great thing is I can now chat with Claude in the same chat window to get it to make edits. So I just click back into the chat box at the bottom here, and I might say something like, make it about half the length and only use a maximum of 2 emojis. And again, hit enter or click submit. And now Claude will make an edit directly to this and open it back up for me to see. It's very quick. Here we go. We've got one that's about half the length. It has used a few more emojis, but I think these ones barely count because it's like the map pin and the calendar icon. There's one thing that I just remembered, which is we're going to give away free coffee to the first 50 people. So I'd like it to add a note about that. So back in the chat, I'm going to write, add a note that the first 50 customers will get a free coffee. And again, hit enter. Okay, and here's the version that Claude has come up with the extra line to celebrate the first 50 customers. And I could copy this now, make edits if I wanted to before I then go and post it on my Facebook group. And it might be that you want to create even more social posts, maybe for your own Facebook page. So a bit later in this video, I'm going to show you how to create skills, which are great for repetitive tasks. And don't forget, you can always use the chapter links in the description. Working with Claude doesn't just mean that you have a conversation and it writes things for you. It can do loads more, including understanding and analyzing documents that you can then ask questions about. So I'm going to create a new chat by clicking the new button on the top left here. That gives me this blank chat window again. And I'm going to click this plus button here where I've got the option to add files or photos. Now you'll see there are loads of other options here, and I'm not going to cover absolutely everything in this video, but I do want to give you enough to get you the confidence to help get started. So I click on the Add Files link here, and I'm going to choose this PDF that I've got, which is a multiple page document from a supplier with their price list and other information about them. So I'm going to attach that to the chat here, and then I can start asking Claude questions about it. So to save me reading back through it again, I can't remember exactly what the answer is. I might just say, what's the minimum order quantity? And this could be anything related to my business. It could be a spreadsheet, another document, notes I've made, literally anything. I'm going to submit that and let's see what Claude answers. It comes back very quickly telling me the minimum order is £40. Now, when you're using Claude like this, I highly recommend double checking things that are particularly important to you. But I could take this even further now. I might say, what do you think I should place as my first order when I'm expecting 150 customers on opening day of my coffee shop? And this one's an interesting one because Claude is going to have to think about it, but then also use the information from that PDF to answer the question. So I hit enter to submit it. And 30 seconds or so later, here's the answer that I've got. For 150 customers on opening day, the key judgment is what share will actually buy a baked item. Very fair. I'll assume a fairly strong 65% take rate since it's a launch day. I think that's a fair assumption as well. And we're also planning to give away those 50 free coffees, so those people will probably buy something. And so then it's given me a mix of things that I could order, the packs and how many units that would be, and then also the cost. And then it's given me the total cost at the bottom, and then some more explanation about why it thinks that's a good idea. So it's not just simple analysis and summarization of a document that you could ask for. You could have Claude help you think through some of the challenges. And again, I could go back on this conversation and maybe mention there's not enough vegan options or something else entirely. And so we've seen now that Claude can do writing based on tasks that I ask for. It can look at a document and understand the contents and even often judgment about the content as well when I ask questions. But it can also create documents too. So I'm going to add another new chat by clicking the new button on the top left of the screen again. And this time I'm going to give it some notes that I have. So we're going to combine its ability to understand what's in a document and read them and summarize them with also creating new documents as well. So I click the plus button, choose add files, and I've got some notes here that I've written that are just random thoughts that have come to my mind, tasks that I need to do, things I need to remember for this launch day. I'm going to click to add that to Claude here. At the moment, they're a bit of a mess, so I'm just going to ask to turn these notes into a launch day checklist that I can print and tick off. And I also want Claude to decide on some other tasks that it could add as well and submit that. Let's see what we get. And about a minute later, here's what we've got. On the left-hand side, Claude tells me what it's done. It says it's organized into 5 stages, the weeks before, day before, and so on. And then it's given me a bullet point list of some of the things that it's added. And on the right, it's got the Word document that it's created open for me. It's got a little bit of design and color to it. And here is that long list now of things to tick off. I can scroll down and see all of these tasks. Like before, if I wanted to make any edits, I could go back to Claude in the chat here, or I could download this Word document, open it up, and just work on it myself to tweak it how I'd like to. Now, one of the things here, it says to set up online registration because I want to get an idea of numbers. I'm going to use Claude to help me do that as well in a new chat by going up to the top left again and choosing new. And I'm going to click on the plus button here and go down to the connectors option and see that I've got Jotform attached here. So with Claude, you can attach other apps that it can work with directly in Claude chat to save you having to go there separately. Now, if you want to see what's possible, you can go to Manage Connectors here, and it will open up a list of everything that you have. I can click on Add, and then to go to Browse Connectors and have a look through. I can connect my Gmail, Google Calendar, Microsoft Word, and loads more. Now, Jotform is already connected, so I'm going to close these windows. And in this new chat, I'm just going to write a simple prompt. I'm going to say, create an event registration form for the Willow Coffee grand opening with filter name, email, and dietary requirements, and submit it by hitting the Enter button, or you could click on the button in Claude there. And now Claude will get to work. It's clever enough to understand that I'm asking for a form. Jotform is connected. It knows that Jotform creates forms, and so it will go and create one on its own here right in front of us. It's honestly like magic. It's crazy how quick this is, and in a moment we'll have a completed form. And here's what it's created. I can click on the arrows on the top right here to expand the form. I've got full name, email address, and the dietary requirements box. That's perfect. And it isn't just the ability to create the form from scratch, but can even edit these forms with design or adding or removing questions and so on. So at the bottom of this conversation, I'm going to write another prompt that says, add a question to find out how people heard about the event. That's going to help me track whether social media was best or it was just word of mouth and so on. Again, I don't need to open another tab or anything. Claude is going to make these changes directly in Jotform without me needing to touch a thing. Here we go. Here's the updated form. We can see that it's added this question at the bottom that says, how did you hear about the event? And a drop down. That's perfect. Now, if I wanted to, I could click to edit this in Jotform, or I can click the button to share the form and then send the link to people that I want to fill it out. But it isn't just creating and editing and designing forms. It can even read the responses as well. So once we've had a bunch of people fill this out, in this same chat with Claude, I can just ask about those responses. Let's try it. I'm just going to go back down into the chat here and ask, how many people are registered and are there any dietary requirements? Submit that. Claude can go and tap into that Jotform, get all the information it needs, and then come back and give me a summary. Here we go. It tells me 24 people are registered, and here's a breakdown of the dietary requirements from vegan to vegetarian, halal, and so on. It's super helpful. Before, I would have had to go and look at all of these results and then maybe write a formula to sum all of these up. Now I can just come and ask Claude whenever I want an update in a chat. It will connect, find the information I want, and then give it to me. At the beginning of the video, we used Claude to write a social media post, and I need to do more and more of that. Repetitive tasks are really good for things called skills. Skills basically allow you to give Claude instructions in the background that it can tap into, so you don't need to write really detailed prompts every time that you work with Claude. To see which skills you have, you can click on the plus button and go down to skills, and you see there's the ability to manage skills or browse them. There's like a marketplace you can choose from. And above that, you see the ones that you've got. Now, one that exists for everybody using Claude is the skill creator skill. And when I click on it, it types in /skill creator. And then you're just going to say what you want the skill to be. So I'm going to say, help me write social media posts. And then Claude is going to walk through with me to create a new skill that can be added that I could then use every time I want to write a social media post. The skill creator comes back and asks me a few questions like, what should this skill do exactly? Are we writing for a particular platform? When should it trigger? And then what's the format? So I could give it some information about the voice and so on. So I would go through and type out an answer to each of those questions, which is what I've got here. I'm going to submit that. And then what Claude will do is use all this information to write a set of instructions. Now it comes back with some examples, asks me if that's all okay. I'm going to say they're great like this, and then it will go to work and actually build out the skill. Here's the skill that is written then. I can look through all of these instructions and obviously ask it to make changes if I wanted to. When I'm ready, if I'm happy with it, I just click Save Skill here, and that will be saved for me to try out in any chat. So if I go to create a new chat in the top left over here and click on the plus button, then go to skills, you see now I have the Willow Coffee social post skill, and I might say something like, write a post for our opening day. And because it's already got the voice and everything laid out in those instructions, I don't need to provide all of those different pieces of information in this prompt when I'm working with a skill. And there's the post that is written, nice and short, exactly what we wanted. And if I wanted them to be longer, maybe I wanted to make changes to how it writes them, I can just ask Claude to update that skill whenever I need to. Finally, a couple of the other things you might want to check out in Claude include the project button on the top left of the screen here. Projects are basically like folders where you can have multiple chats in one place around one topic. And they also allow you to add instructions and files to the project that Claude can always tap into from those chats. So really useful if you have a project or a customer or something that you're working on and you want to keep everything together. The other thing is that there are limits with Claude, and you can check your usage at any time by clicking on the button at the bottom where your name is, going to settings like this, and then going to usage, and you'll see how much you've used. I hope that was a helpful way to get started with Claude and see what's possible with creating just using text, making documents and analyzing them as well, and even connecting to third-party tools to create things like forms and more. If it was, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.